Hey you guys, welcome to day one of the 30-day yoga challenge with Do You Yoga. I'm your teacher, Erin Motz, and I just have to say that I am so excited. I'm trying to contain myself, but I have literally been looking forward to the start of this challenge since we announced it like a month ago. So the fact that the first day is finally here is awesome, and I know that literally thousands of you signed up, which is even cooler. So now we have this awesome, huge community of positive people who are looking to get some yoga in their lives, which will be just so cool. I think it's awesome. So thank you guys very much for joining me. Today, as a kickoff, I figured we would start with something that everybody loves to do, and that's opening up the hips and the muscles in the sides of the hips and the lower back, just to kind of unravel all of that tightness and tension that just kind of forms over the course of our day from driving in the car and sitting at a desk or whatever it is that we do. So I will meet you at the front of your mat right in the center, and we can go ahead and get started. All right, so we're gonna start in double pigeon on the right side. So your left shin is gonna be parallel to the front of your mat, and the right ankle is gonna hook on top of the left knee. So you want your joints to be stacked. Think ankle over knee, knee under ankle. Now, if this is really super difficult and you already feel like you can't do it, go ahead and cross the right shin in front of the left so you can sit just regular cross-legged and adjust the feet, so that they're comfortable. So any variation of that is totally fine. Make sure both hips stay down on the floor. So you want both butt cheeks flat. Flex the top ankle if it is stacked over the knee, and then when you're ready, you can start to walk forward. So a couple things here. If your top knee is already pretty flat, so you're pretty flexible in the hips, folding down is fine. If the knee is really high up, folding forward is not going to be a good position for you. So if that top leg is really high, just take the hands behind you and focus on lifting through the torso. So lifting the sternum up towards the ceiling, keeping the shoulders relaxed and the hips down, okay? So whichever option you decide to take, we're going to hold for a few breaths. So just like you always would in any yoga class, you want to slow your breath down a little bit, breathing in and out through the nose, keeping the muscles of the face soft. For the next few minutes, just try to let the rest of the day's to-do list kind of fall by the wayside. Just kind of claiming this time for yourself. And we'll just take a few more breaths here. Now your next inhale, walk the hands in. So I'm going to have you unhook the feet and go ahead and swing your legs to the right. We're going to roll to the back, bring both hands flat so that the fingertips face the hips. The feet are hip width apart, and as you inhale, go ahead and press up. So reverse tabletop, squeezing the sits bones together, tucking the tailbone down towards the knees. Maybe relax the head back. If that doesn't feel right, you can look straight down towards the legs. Take 2 breaths here. Keep rolling the shoulders back, puff the chest up a little bit. And on an exhale, slowly lower back down. We'll do the same thing to the other side, so face the front. This time your right shin is parallel to the front of your mat. And go ahead and stack the left knee over the right for double pigeon. So remember your options. If it's way too high, just keep the hands back. If this is way too uncomfortable as is, just cross the legs normally. So wherever you end up, sit up nice and tall, both hips stay down, and as you exhale, start to fold forward. So you probably are feeling this in the outside of that left hip or outside of the top hip. But if you find yourself asking, like, am I feeling this right? Am I doing this right? Unless you're in pain, there's no wrong place to feel something. So if you think of the yoga pose as a chain, there are plenty of different parts in this chain that may be affected by what you're doing. So right now, we're stretching the top quad, we're stretching the lower back, we're stretching all areas of the hip. So depending on where you're tightest in that chain, you may feel it more intensely in one part than in another, and your neighbor or your friend who's doing it with you may feel it differently as well. So don't feel like that if you feel it in one place and you're not sure if that's right, don't feel like it's wrong or anything. It's just different. Everybody's body is made up differently, of course. So we're just going to take a few more breaths here. And on an inhale, you can start to walk the hands in. We'll do that same thing we did before, reverse tabletop. So swing the feet to one side. Press into the hands, fingertips face you. Feet are hip width apart, lift the hips up. Maybe relax the head down, maybe keep it straight up. Keep rolling the shoulders back. And just take 2 more breaths. And on your exhale, slowly sit it back down. So both feet are going to swing back behind you, and I want you to come up to a down dog. So tucking the toes under, lift the hips up and back. So feet are hip width apart, hands are under the shoulders, and you can start to pedal out the legs a few times. So pressing one heel down, and then moving on to the other. Especially if this is your first down dog of the day, it may feel a little bit tight. So just take a few breaths here to settle in. And continue to breathe deeply in and out through the nose. And start to find some stillness in that down dog, pressing evenly into both hands. And just to get the blood moving, I want you to shift your weight forward to a plank. Maybe for the first one, drop the knees. On your exhale, press straight down between the elbows, and then lay the chest flat. On your inhale, roll the shoulders back, squeeze the elbows in for cobra. Exhale, lower the chest down. Tuck the toes under, sit up and back. Downward dog, again, pedaling out the legs a couple times. We're going to come to pigeon on the right side to start. So on your inhale, just stretch the right leg straight up overhead. Reach the toes towards the ceiling. Don't worry about how high the leg goes. And on your exhale, swing the right knee all the way through to the hands. So the left leg stays down. You can make sure the back or the top of the left foot is flat. And then make sure you're not sitting on the right heel. So just bring it out from underneath the hips, from underneath the groin, and keep rolling the left hip forward. So go for symmetry before depth. The depth will come naturally, so don't worry about going as far down as you can. Just think about making sure the hips are even. So if you think of the hip bones, those little bony parts here, as a steering wheel, you want to make sure that they're right, one next to the other, not one forward or anything like that. So symmetry before depth, and then once you feel comfortable, you can start to walk the hands out. Try to make sure all the toenails on the back foot are down. You can relax the head and the neck. Let the eyes close. And for this one, we're going to hold for about a minute. So continue to breathe. And see if you can start to feel the length down the left leg. Starting to feel that left hip soften up a little bit. And your next breath in, you can start to walk the hands in. We're going to come back to that same double pigeon we had at the beginning. So the left leg is going to swing all the way around. The right leg is still on the bottom. I'll face you so you can see. The right leg is still on the bottom. Shin is parallel to the front of your mat. Stack the left ankle over the right knee. And remember your options. So if you took a different option, you can go there as well. So keeping both hips down, flex the top foot. Inhale, sit up tall. And as you exhale, the left hand is going to come to the top foot. or the top knee, whichever you're on. And as you inhale, lift, exhale, twist around over the right shoulder. You can take the right hand down on the floor behind you, and then gently look over the right shoulder. So you want to get that twisting action from the muscles in the core. So as you inhale, you're lifting. Exhale, think of wringing out a towel right through the center of the body. So that's the feeling you want to have. You're not wedging on the spine or going for a crack or anything. It's just to use that muscles to kind of use those muscles to stimulate all of the organs in the center and really get yourself around using strength, not, using the bones to twist back. So take a couple more inhales here. And on your exhale, come back to the center. So before we transition the other way, bring the soles of the feet together. Knees fold out to the side. If this is very difficult for you to sit up straight, you can take your feet further out. So the further away from you the heels are, the easier it'll be. The closer they pull into the groin, the more difficult the stretch will feel. So wherever you end up, sit up tall, and as you exhale, start to lean the chest out over the feet. So you may not go very far, and that's okay. It's just about feeling that stretch. You'll probably feel it in the inner thighs and the groin, the hamstrings, maybe the outer hip. Again, nothing wrong with anything, with any way that you feel it, as long as it's a good stretch, not a painful one. And just take a couple breaths here. And gradually walk the hands back in. Bring the knees together, swing the feet back, come back to that down dog. So lifting the tailbone high, pedal out the feet a couple more times, pressing the heels down. And we'll do the same thing we did to the other side. So on your inhale, stretch the left leg up. Doesn't have to go super high. Just reach the toes towards the ceiling. And on your exhale, bring the knee all the way up to the hands. So slide the right leg back. Make sure the top of the foot is down, the toenails are down. And then sit the hips down. So try to pull the right hip forward. Remember, hip bone's like a steering wheel. You don't want one pushing far forward. You want to keep them really even. So then when you're ready, you can start to walk the hands out. And you can come all the way flat if you feel like that's comfortable. You can walk the hands as far out as you can. Maybe it's under the couch like mine is. But so just whatever feels better. Letting the chest drop, or you can kind of relax on the forearms. And again, we'll hold for about a minute, so find that breath. Breathing in and out through the nose. Just slowing down the inhales. Allowing that right hip to soften up a bit. And just notice if you're resisting the stretch. So if you're tensing the butt cheeks or clenching them at all, see if you can just consciously release, allowing that whole bottom half of the body to be heavy, to be soft. Sometimes we have to kind of convince the body to be receptive to opening up. So just take a little scan when you come into these longer holds, a scan of the body mentally, and just check in. Notice where you hold on to that stress or hold on to that tension, tightness. That way you can be aware of it and consciously release as you go. And we'll take 2 more breaths. On your inhale, start to walk the hands in, lifting the chest up, and we'll swing that right leg all the way around. Double pigeon, so cross the right ankle over the left knee. Any option is fine. Sitting up really tall, reach through the crown of the head, take the right hand to the top foot or the top knee, the back hand lands down. Inhale, lift, exhale, ring out through the middle as you twist around. gradually come back to the front. So, just like we did before, unhook the legs. Bring the soles of the feet together, sitting up tall. Adjust as you need to, so maybe pull them in closer if you need a little more, or push them out further away if you want a little less. And then just gradually let the chest fold down. So try to keep the spine as long as you can. Try not to hunch the back in. So if you feel like you're doing one of these, just walk the hands up, bring the feet out, and that way it'll make it a little easier to keep the posture intact when you fold forward. So relax the chest down towards the toes, just taking a couple breaths here. Now on your inhale, walk the hands back in. Bring the knees together, you can lie back. I'll just take a couple breaths in stillness. So if your lower back is a little bit tight sometimes, you can keep the feet apart with the knees together. Arms come down to the sides. And just let the eyes close. If you want to continue opening through the hips, you can bring the soles of the feet together and let the knees come apart. So whichever feels better, you can stretch the legs out. This is completely subjective. Your choice entirely. So wherever you end up, let the eyes close and just take a couple breaths here. Breathing in deeply through the nose, out through the nose. And as the breath gets deeper, see if you can find that stillness at the bottom of the breath. That pause right before the next inhale. Relaxing the shoulders and the hips. And then gradually start to bring a little bit of movement back. So maybe wiggling the fingers, opening and closing the hands. Deepen the breath. And then everybody start to pull the knees in towards the chest. So just gently hugging them in. Maybe rocking left and right a couple times just to massage the lower back. And taking your time, eventually just transition up to a comfortable seat with the eyes closed. So sitting any way that feels comfortable so that the weight is distributed evenly on both sides of the body. Shoulders, hips, equally heavy. And then your inhale, sweep the arms up overhead. Bringing the palms together, exhale the hands right down to the heart center, sealing in your practice. And let the eyes open. Namaste. Thank you guys so much for joining me for day one. I really hope you enjoyed it. Come on back tomorrow. We're going to be doing some shoulder and chest opening flows, so it'll be a great complement to today's practice. I also wanted to tell you that this challenge belongs to you. So if there's anything that you would love to see or that you hope to never see again, comment below and tell me about it. Get your daily yoga at doyouyoga.com and be sure to find me on Facebook. As always, be good, feel good, have an awesome rest of your day, and I'll see you back here tomorrow.